Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Shay. And you know what? Today I was just thinking about something. I had a subscriber who is also a teacher ask me a question about one of the students that I mentioned on my previous video when I said that on the sight word test she received an F. I had one student that she failed the test, but she's been having a lot of difficulty, so that's not unusual, but I'm working with her. And so she was just inquiring about, what do you do with that student? Because I mentioned that is nothing unusual for that student to receive an F. And so it kind of prompted me to have a video and kind of just to talk with the subject or the topic of truancy and absenteeism. Because I feel like in kindergarten, because I teach kindergarten, I'm a kindergarten teacher, there are a lot of parents who feel like kindergarten is not really a grade level that they should take seriously. And oftentimes students are absent for various reasons. Now, I'm not talking about absent because you're ill or you're sick, but I mean just like absenteeism or truancy, just because you don't feel like the grade level is really important to like the learning or the total picture of learning for your child. And I have a student, I remember in the past, I had a student who was absent for the entire year, like 30 days. And I know you're gonna say, oh, Shay, was she sick? Did they have issues that were going on in the home that you didn't know about? And the answer is no, they did not. It was just that the parent, pretty much told me that they didn't really feel like that kindergarten was really that important, that they just really felt like their child, if they didn't want to come to school, they didn't have to come to school, that they wouldn't really make them come to school. So in the course of a year, 30 absences. And I mean, it negatively impacted their child's grades. And the parents were like, it just doesn't matter, doesn't matter. And so, for that student, just to, answer some questions that you may have, was that student retained? No. That student was actually very, gifted and very smart and was able to come in and to pick up on where we had left off, and she was still able to move forward to the next grade. But when she came back into the classroom, she would be crying because she would be lost. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't really make a lot of friends because she was, never really there. And she really I really saw the stress in her face and on her just because, she wasn't there and she didn't make those connections like other students. Also, she didn't have a lot of experiences like other students. When we had the fire truck come visit our classroom or come visit our school, she wasn't there. When we had a sports day when kids went to play in an organized fashion in the PE field during various sports, that it was a full day, parents were invited, she wasn't there. So, it was unfortunate for her. She didn't get a chance to experience some of or a lot of the activities or the learning that other kids got to experience just because her mom felt like, she didn't need to have experience kindergarten because it just was not an essential grade. Now, I just wrote down a couple of things. I just wanted to share. This is exactly what I did in class on today. I want to share with you exactly what I did in class on today. In class today, we went over pronouns, we went over handwriting, we went over our spelling words with our whiteboards, we went over our sight words with our whiteboards, videos, writing the words. Students originated sentences using their spelling words, and we had like a contest. They originated sentences using their their sight words, and we had a contest with that. Students practiced their rhyme. We did it verbally, orally, and then we had games, rhyming games. They also had a worksheet that they were able to practice their rhyme using that as well. We had a syllables game. We had a contest between the boys and the girls to see who knew their syllables. We were actually blending sounds. The students were reading words in a workbook, and they were writing the words, and then they were matching the words with the sentences. We had a worksheet where students were building their spelling words. They were actually cutting out the words and building them. We were reading today. Students, we had sentences and students were reading their sentences. I went over parts of a plant on today. Okay, that was just for our reading and language arts. And so for math, in math, we reviewed our numbers from 1 to 20. Students not only said the number, but they spelled the number. Then they wrote the number down. Then on the board, I wrote the number, the word for the number, and then they wrote the number in their journal. So we had journal work with that as well. I'm looking at my notes here because I have notes because we did so much. We actually did 5 pages of math work where students were crossing off and counting objects in various different, arrays or arrangements, and they were writing that in their workbook. We also reviewed the clock for math. We went over, the different longhand, shorthand, and what that meant, and they actually were telling time today. We also went over the principle of adding numbers to a 10, what that looks like. We did it orally, they saw it visually, and then they had to write it down as well. And I'm not even going into what I did for science on today because we had science. And I'm not even talking about just the various things that I weaved into our day. I mean, we went over pronouns. I don't know if I said that. And so in a course of one day, just missing one day, that's all of the work and the review and that a student misses. So you can imagine that times 30 days. That is huge, and it impacts the learning. And kindergarten is the foundation. Think about it. If you have a house, you lay a foundation. Kindergarten is a foundation for learning. So, when that particular viewer asked or subscriber asked about that student who had the F, and I said that she consistently gets F, absenteeism. Just this week, she's been out 4 days. And I know you're gonna say, Shay, is it due to her being sick or ill? No. Is it due to, difficult circumstancing at home? No. It's just, school is not a priority. And so what happens with that type of student is they're just missing so much work until it becomes a lot of catch up. Well, they have to catch up, and I have to spend extra time with them one-on-one trying to teach them what they missed. And inevitably the gap just grows bigger and bigger, and they start to fall behind. So, it's just essential and it's important for kids to be present in class or in school. It's essential for them to, even if you miss a day, even if a student misses a day. I have parents where if their child misses one day, they come and they say, Shay, I'm going to come pick up the work that they missed. Send the work home that they missed so I can review it with them. Send the video, send me the information via our classroom app so I can make sure that they don't fall behind. So it's essential that even if a child misses, that they, make up the work so that they'll still be exposed to and understand, all of the skills and concepts that are being taught. So when that doesn't happen, and with the student who I stated is, consistently receiving Fs, that student is truant, she's not here. And then when that happens, they fall behind. And then when parents aren't asking or requesting the work, or the work, if I send it home, it's not being done, they're falling even further and further behind. And so it just makes for a difficult, situation for the student, for the teacher as well. And, it makes a difficult situation overall. So it's just really important that kids come to school. And after COVID, and if you're a teacher, let me know if you've seen this as well. After COVID, I really saw a decline in enrollment. It was kind of like before COVID, kids really were coming to school. I didn't have a lot of students who were absent a lot. After COVID, it was like, seemingly each year it just grows worse and worse. I have more and more students who are just absent randomly. I mean, granted, I have had students who've been absent because they've been sick or a doctor's appointment, but I have students who are just like absent. They're just gone. I have some students who have even I'm on a cruise for 2 weeks. That's great, but are you doing the work? It's going to cause a gap between, the information is going to cause a learning gap is what I'm trying to say. So it's just important for kids to come to school. It's important for them to be engaged. It's important for parents to prioritize school for kids so they can understand that this is something that they need to participate in and that learning is essential. And when that doesn't happen, then you do have certain circumstances and situations where then a child is going to receive, consistent poor grades on a test. So that's it for me. That's all I wanted to say. And again, thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, and definitely commenting. Okay, that's it for me. This is Shay with The Learning Project.